Are the Jets the biggest mess of a franchise you've ever seen?
Mark, if you listen to my take, and I've been saying it over and over again, I think this is the worst 3-8 team I've ever seen in NFL history.
Not just that, but the dysfunction. Like, I mean, nobody knows who's in charge. You have the guy who's, was over in Europe for a couple of years, comes back, and then he starts barking orders. Johnson was never really that hands-on before this. Like, I mean, from what I hear, that's like, people have reported it, but I still hear that that's not necessarily true, that he asked for Aaron Rodgers to be benched. I do know that he put a lot of pressure on the GM, on Douglas, and Douglas felt like he had no say in any of the transactions going into last year, which, again, for me, is like, is this guy getting like Jerry Jones? I mean, who the hell is he to think he knows what he's doing in football? The team hasn't won or been in a playoff game since 2010. It's hard to believe the last playoff game they won was against the Patriots, when everyone thought, oh, wow, we've arrived. And little did we know how bad it was going to get after that.
It's just bad luck. And this is an organization that just doesn't have any. And again, Woody Johnson's going to be like interviewing. Who's he going to hire right now to interview? Every single time he's interviewing a GM or a coach, he brings in ex-GMs or ex-coaches to help him interview. If you're such a smart guy and you know football, then go into a room or go on a Zoom call with 3 or 4 different GMs, and you make the right decision, because you've made everything wrong over the last couple of years. And I'm not blaming this on Woody Johnson, because, again, coming out, and I've stuck up for Woody Johnson. And one of the main reasons is Woody Johnson's one of those owners that will open up his pockets and spend the money. He's done that every single time. The problem with Woody is when the team starts to lose, when the team is really in the dumpster, that's when he's the one that's making these crazy decisions that sets the team back. Yeah,
well, obviously, Saleh, you could say Saleh deserves to be fired.
Oh, he was horrible.
He was horrible. But, maybe the timing wasn't as right. And then bringing in Ulrich, who's now supposed to be a defensive coordinator, and both. But you know what? You're right. The players, there was a loss of responsibility or accountability with the players, because you're like, who's going to step up and lead, especially on defense? You would expect with all the veterans, they're young in some spots too, but, they should be able to step up and say, hey, we played together 3-4 years now, these guys. Like, we shouldn't, this is what is expected of us, and not get run all over by everybody. And the effort, especially in games like against the Cardinals, that effort was just horrible. And then the Steeler game, at halftime, they look like they're going in with a 15-6 lead. Aaron throws a pick, and then everything falls apart.
Well, hold on. Garrett Wilson, for some reason, didn't see the ball. It hit off his chest or the back of his head, and that's why the interception happened. It's not all Aaron Rodgers. It was.
To me, the interception wasn't the big deal. The big deal was the fact that the way the team collapsed.
The team has always been known to collapse, and anybody can sit there. We have all these analysts. All these analysts go on social media, and they speak so high in the beginning of the season, the preseason. You know who I'm speaking about, and they go out there and they brag about what they know and what they think. And then all of a sudden, the Jets start to lose, and then everything starts to fall apart. And then all of these guys, they jump on the bandwagon. They stink. They're this. Aaron Rodgers, terrible. Meanwhile, those are the same guys 2 weeks before the season saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to take this team to the promised land. So it's just a joke.
Yeah. Well, I think they just don't know. They don't know of the bad karma that it has. Now, when you say bad luck, like, I could agree with some of that, but look, they're just bad decision makers, okay? You don't miss the postseason 15 straight years without being totally stupid. And some of the moves they've made have been moronic. Starting, bringing in someone like Idzik and, McCagnon, and some of the moves the coaching moves they've made, just horrible. They never repeated what was successful for them the first time, which is going after a guy like Parcells. Now, could be that a Parcells maybe with that kind of background wasn't available, but then get a next guy who has won a Super Bowl or has some kind of credentials of success, of winning, of making a playoffs. And who have they hired that you would feel comfortable in saying that? Nobody.
And that's, again, that goes to what this organization is all about. It's they always put themselves in quicksand. That's what I think the Jets are. They're an organization that just, for some reason, they don't look for it, but it finds them. And once they step in it, it's like finding you're running, you're in your backyard, you're playing football. Joba, you know all about this. You're in Nebraska.
All the time.
You're in the backyard, you're throwing a football around, and you had your dogs running out there crapping all over the lawn. And you're like, and you're just, hey, you know what? I'm in my bare feet. I'm throwing a ball with my son. And then all of a sudden you step in a bunch of dog crap. Okay. That's the Jets. They are an organization that no matter what they do and how they clean up, they always find the dog crap. That's the Jets. They always find it, or finds them. Okay.
The dog crap that's definitely supposed to eat.
It finds them. That's the New York Jets.
I like that.
It's the New York Jets. They're a bunch of dog crap. That's what it is. And the smell is just so disgusting and rotten. Okay. And it's just, to me, I mean, has anybody gone and did anybody play a practical joke on you? Another thing that Joba probably knows a little bit about because he lives in Nebraska. I'm bringing that whole Nebraska analogy for you, Joba. There's a lot of fishing out there. There's a little bit man-made rivers out there. And somebody takes a fish and throws a dead fish in your car and lets it sit for 24 hours. Do you know what that smell does to your car? It'll completely stick to the car. And no matter if you take it out, you practically should throw the car away. There's no way that smell is ever going to get out of your car. Okay. That's the Jets. The Jets are a stinker. I mean, it's like making, if you have really bad farts, I mean, somebody letting go of a fart in a locker room and it just sticks to the walls. That's the New York Jets. The fart, the crap, everything. That's the organization as a whole. I'm tired of them. I am just tired of watching this garbage of a team. I know everybody's going to tell me, well, you're a Jet fan. You stick up for them. Yeah, I'm not going to stick up for them when I watch bad football. This has been probably, I don't care if they're 3-8. It's not the worst season I've seen when it comes to their record. And they probably win 7 games before the season's end. This is the worst talented team I've ever seen in NFL history. This is so bad right now. Just think about it. Devontae Adams is a Hall of Famer. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. Smith is a Hall of Famer. I mean, just go up and down that roster. You might have 6 or 7 future Hall of Famers on that roster, and they can't win a close football game against the New England Patriots. Just think about that.
Oh, God.
The New England Patriots.
In the last minute. Them and the Titans. The Titans go right down the field.
The New England Patriots. That New England Patriot team.
The Colts.
Titans almost beat them too.
But Richardson was supposed to have problems with consistency, wasn't he? Yeah. 2 times he took them to the field in the fourth quarter. Against a great defense. Well, I mean, they're not great, but that type of thing shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't happen against New England. Shouldn't happen against Indianapolis. They shouldn't. So that to me is the bigger part, because when you start to expect, and then you look at the defense they had last year. Now I know that minus a couple guys, Johnson getting hurt early didn't help, but
it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. You're right.
And if Johnson was still playing, we might not even know who McDonald is, because McDonald was only going to play on 3rd downs. Now he's playing in every down. He's an every down defensive lineman. So now we know that McDonald could play. So we might not know if McDonald's as good as he is right now. So there's a lot of good from it. But again, sitting here today, look at Kansas City. Joba, you watch football. Look at Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs, no matter how bad Patrick Mahomes looked in certain games, they find a way to win games. It doesn't matter how bad they look and how undynamic this team has been over the past 2 years. They still are 9-1. They still won 9 games with the team all in a state of flux. You don't know who their number one guy is. You don't know who their offensive. They're shifting their offensive line. There's no guarantees where this team. They don't even have Pacheco's been out for almost the whole season. They're back and forth. They bring Kareem Hunt, who's sitting on his mom's sofa, and he's running the ball, getting you freaking 2 touchdowns a game. It's ridiculous, and the Jets can't find a way to do that. And the Jets are in a division where Besides Buffalo, it stinks. It's a horrible division.
No idea what that's like to win games consistently. No idea.
I do.